advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln, Cordell & Cordell, 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68508.
Welcome back, race fans, to the finish line every Sunday night. I'm James Rowland. Join Bree Marie and me every Sunday from 7 to 8 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket FM or theticketfm.com for the finish line. All the latest news for local and national motorsports, all in one place. 93.7 The Ticket FM.
An award-winning softball season deserves a celebration. Don't miss your chance to congratulate Jordy Ball in person. Join the team at Midwest Bank for a special meet and greet on July 16th at their Jamie Lane location as they recognize her incredible achievements. Bring your friends, your team spirit, and your favorite gear for Jordy to sign, and it all kicks off at 4 p.m. They can't wait to see you there. Get all the details at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Play ball! Ready for summer fun and ballpark vibes? Bring your pack to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. From May through August, the Lincoln Salt Dogs will be playing and the park will be popping with all the food, drinks, and fun you need for the perfect night out. Grab your friends, family, and coworkers and make plans now. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets. Come on out to the park and unleash the fun.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Hi, I'm Asher on summer break and about to start 2nd grade. Thanks to awesome people like you who picked Aloe Fiber. They donated $193,000 to schools like mine. This summer, I'm using my fast internet to keep learning, and I can't wait to tell my teacher everything I discovered. So if you're a grown-up picking internet, choose Aloe, because Aloe chooses us, our schools, our town, and our future. Go to aloefiber.com to learn more.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Ticket Weeknights. I am Jeffrey Calhoun here tonight on the ones and twos with Harrison Arens here. in studio here with me tonight. Harrison, how are we feeling?
I'm excited for college football. It's going to be interesting with me and DP just talked about it, but NIL is getting interesting. NIL Go coming out there. And if you heard me and DP talk about it on the last segment, obviously you have the College Sports Commission, and that one is really going to go after NIL. Make sure that we don't have any, you don't want to necessarily call it fraudulent, but in a way fraudulent deals where there has to be some real value and merit to when you're signing these deals. I gave you the example when we were in an off-air. It's, if I got a bunch of money and I'm a third party or I'm a collective and Jeffrey's a great 5-star talent, isn't really well known though, and I want to pay this guy $1 million through my company who's realistically only bringing in about $1,000. Obviously that's unrealistic and it makes no sense in a real business sense. That's not a win-win. That's just me paying you a bunch of money to get you to the university that I really like. And what's interesting is in the House versus NCAA settlement, they talked about what the College Sports Commission was going to do. And even when they did so, they phrased it, I want to say if they would have turned away about 90% of what they saw last year.
Right.
So then you flash forward to where we're at today. What were these collectives doing? And again, it's not all collectives. I'm not sure which ones are guilty and which ones aren't. But we'll see which ones have some serious problems. I mean, them getting rejected is fine as long as there's nothing too nefarious and you have a plan B. But hopefully you didn't make promises about that student's money already. Hopefully you didn't make a situation to where, it got rejected by the sports commission and you already put it in contract with your player. So what kind of awkward situation does that create? In my mind, it feels like some schools got too ahead or they didn't take the House versus NCAA settlement serious enough, because now it feels like there's some serious possible repercussions I could have from it, with some schools feeling a little bit bound when the season this close away. And even hearing guys like Mike Leach on Big 12 Media Days, they're talking about his squad and how he doesn't have a really good sense of how many starters he's going to have. Like, who are my starters? What is this roster that I'm going to be trying to put together here? And it's just a lot to take in through the course of the summer. Conference realignment, the House settlement goes down. You maybe should have played by the rules a little bit more based off of that House settlement. And again, I'm not saying I don't know which schools might have not done so well, but it sounds like a ton of them are getting rejected by the College Sports Commission. So, Jeffrey, I don't know. That's my kind of rant on. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I think that's totally fair. Like, we're in an era with a serious problem where people are just kind of just getting money. I mean, I know you and DP talked about it a little bit off air or on air, and then I talked with DP a little bit while I was waiting to go on, but it's just there's a lot of, you're a good athlete, here's money, and we're going to pretend like you're actually doing something. And I think that's a serious issue. Like, and I don't know, I guess.
Well, it's not so much, I mean, yeah, I don't even want to say it's the pretend you're doing something, but it's got to have some real base to it. Yeah, no, the whole point of the House settlement was to put some rules on this, so it's not just the wild, wild west. Even Deion Sanders, go figure, his Big 12 Media Days was pretty electric. He had some takes in there that were interesting. He had some that were, I don't want to say dramatic, because at one point in time he didn't want to talk about his own health. Fair enough. I don't think you need to. You're there to talk about football. I actually agree with him there. But, he was even talking about how college football needs to organize themselves in a way similar to what the NFL does in terms of having a cap. They have some real numbers behind it. And we're closer there, but it's not all the way. And obviously for Deion Sanders, it makes sense why he would want that, because he doesn't want to get outbid in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
The way he runs his school.
Right.
He said he still does a 40-40-20. That's how he builds his roster. 40 graduate transfers, 40 transfers, and then 20 high schoolers. So when you go that way and people are still trying to get around the House settlement, okay, well, that's going to hurt the targets on the portal if everything's fair and even. So it makes total sense for Deion Sanders. If this thing's run the right way, you can be in a situation where you don't got to worry about the Texas Techs finding ways to get ungodly amounts of money to throw at athletes, despite I hasn't always showed up for them on the field. But it'll prevent those guys from just taking all the best players in the portal. But if people keep finding a way to go around it, like to Deion's point, whether you like the transfer portal or not, it's there for a reason. And whether you like what Deion Sanders is doing or not, he's building his team the way he wants to do it. But I think he still feels like he may be getting cheated by some of these portal. And maybe there's that still bagman hanging around.
I mean, I guess I can see that, but by the same breath, like, it's not like he's exactly innocent in this whole thing either. Like, how do I word this? You can't tell me that NIL and that kind of stuff wasn't instrumental in the rosters he's built at Colorado and getting LaJohntay Wester from FAU and getting Travis Hunter, one of the best college recruits of all time, to Jackson State. Like, you can't tell me that.
I think, well, to be fair to Deion, you look at that whole roster, it went to a few big guys. Travis Hunter is going to be able to make the NIL deals where that they totally would be realistic. And even if it were to go through the College Sports Commission, I think a lot of his deals would still clear because he is that big of a valuable target. Same thing with Shedeur Sanders, ton of popularity. So I think they would clear. And the rest of the roster, I mean, we saw it in the offensive line. It's not like they just went out and bought an entire roster. They did well with the transfers, and they still have some big splashes. I'm not a fan of the way you build teams like that. It feels like a risky thing to be building. But if you're Deion Sanders, and this you ain't going to go this route, like, it's a very important deal that teams are respecting what the House settlement said to, which is $20.5 million. That's what you get for your cap in terms of NIL. And then on top of that, it has to be realistic NIL. And then, of course, there's always the bagman. Are people going to figure out a way to get money regardless, going around the entire system as they did way back in the day during the past? So, yeah, if you're going to go 40-40-20, graduate transfers, and then only 20 high school kids, your program's on a little bit of a ticking time bomb, in my opinion, if you're only getting 20 high school kids, because you one bad transfer year and you're out of luck.
And that's the thing is, like, I don't like rosters being built that way. I mean, first of all, I almost feel like it's an NFL style of creating a roster.
It is. And he wants the NFL. He's very, I'm more on the line. I'll let you finish, but it's not that I don't like it. I just am unsure of the plan.
Right. No, I agree with that. And I think, like, the thing with that is, like, that's not the point of college football. Like,
well, what is college football today?
True.
And that's where Deion's coming from.
Like, I think that's a very good point. But I guess my thing is, like, college football should be, I'm not going to say it is, but I think it should be all about developing players. Like, 100%. Like, I don't think this should be this thing where it's, like, supposed to be NFL light. Like, no, like, this is developing players for the future. This is trying to get them to the next level, whether that is the NFL, whether that's CFL, whether that's working a 9-to-5 job. And I don't know, maybe that's just my thing, but
I mean, I'm the guilty of it too. It's a romantic way to look at college football. It's the way we want to look at college football. It's what you think about when you think of the glory days of Tom Osborne. You think of the walk-on program. You think of sticking around for all years in trying to build a legacy at the place that gave you a chance. And that's the romantic way to look about it. And I don't blame people for feeling that way. I still feel that way a lot. Yeah, I talk about it all the time with missing a lot of the old rivalries, like, Missouri and Kansas State. That's a
out of Mizzou
legend. Right. Yeah, and that was a great rivalry.
Oh, 100%.
And you guys don't get that anymore.
No.
What is Colorado and Nebraska rivalry? We don't get that anymore. We did have the AD for Colorado actually won it. He's going to call out for it. But it will, we'll go back to the Tennessee example. Why isn't Nebraska playing Tennessee? It's not because the fans don't want it. The fans all want it. It's not because, Matt Rule is a fool or, AD or they're too scared. It's why would you need it? You play 9 conference games. You're going to get enough competition in the Big Ten to put yourself in the college football playoffs. Right. You don't need a win versus Tennessee to put yourself on the map. And if you're Colorado, you need a win versus Nebraska, considering that you're in the Big 12, to put yourself in a position that when the college football playoffs get there, you're in a situation to actually succeed. And
right.
Because you have the win versus Nebraska. And vice versa, if you're Nebraska, you don't necessarily need it. And that goes beyond NAL. That's the college football playoffs in itself. And when you have that system in place, you're kind of in the mix between. So I totally get with Deion. I totally get with Deion Sanders talking about that because he wants more of an NFL style. And then I get the other side, that's tradition. We're stuck in the middle.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. It's just, and that's the thing is, I also think a problem that's going on is the fact that
there you don't see a even alignment of conference games in college football, and between the SEC and the ACC and the Big 10 and the Big 12. Like, Big 10, Big 12, they're both playing 9 conference games. And then the ACC and the SEC, like they're both playing 8. So the SEC and the ACC, I feel like they need these games substantially more than these other conferences do. And because what is playing Furman, like what is that going to do for your schedule? Like what is that going to do to help whatever you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. That's the system we're at. And you can drop that commercial banner now. We had a little bit of problems with the cameras. Apologies for that. But now we got our faces back on the stream there. But yeah, 402-464-5685. Everybody wants to join in while we're just talking about the position that college football is in, where it's like you got the Deion Sanders of the world. They want to go full pro. And you can understand it. The way the rules are going out with the House settlement, it seems like it's more pro than ever. And then you have the traditionalist, which is where I come from, where no, I want to play Colorado every year because that game meant something. Like I want to play Tennessee because that's exciting. I don't want to, be in this era where it's so much about just avoiding certain teams and make sure you play enough of the tough ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. Like that's why I don't blame anybody on either side of this, because it's in the middle. There is necessarily no wrong way to go because we haven't come to the end of whatever college football is going to be when it's said and done in the next 5 years. I shouldn't say said and done, but at least at that point, what does it look like 5 years down the road? So we're stuck in the middle. I think you and me are both a little bit of the traditional.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I kind of get where Deion's at. Because if you want to avoid change, you might get yourself at a disadvantage, or you might just stay level with everyone else. If you want to take advantage of what you think is going to be more pro style, then you take the Deion Sanders, you might put yourself in a big advantage. The same way that Tom Osborne back in the day said, what if he did a strength training program? Mm-hmm. And everyone was like, yeah, that was a great, why didn't we do that? Why, if you can find unique ways to make your program different, doesn't always work out. Don't get me wrong. It could be a disaster. And I still think if he has one bad transfer portal year, Colorado's cooked, at least for that year.
Right.
Unless they can get enough buzz to get more portal recruits in. But when Deion Sanders leaves and that allure is gone, because a lot of players look up to him, and understandably so, if he decides to stop coaching at Colorado and he leaves you behind with a bunch of transfer class and only, he's only recruiting 20 high school kids, that's a big problem for whatever next coach is stepping in there. And you don't know what your program's going to look like after Deion, unless they want to go with a very similar stance of like, we're just going to bring in a bunch of transfers and we're going to get a small amount of high school kids.
Well, and I mean, Colorado, like, they're such a weird program because they were not this style of team before Deion Sanders came in. Like, I felt, for better or for worse, Colorado was a very traditional style program. Like they they were a classic Big 8, Big 12 team. Even when they moved to the Pac-12, it felt like they never felt like they fit in with the, more fast-paced, Nike style of the Pac-12. Like they were a traditional Big 12 team, and Deion came in and he changed all of that.
Mm-hmm. We'll wait and see. The NIL Go, though, is interesting. There's just more fireworks that's going to happen. Yeah. That's what we're learning out of this. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see an interesting thing in that memorandum they sent out. So they're talking to these universities, and it's pretty telling when some of these universities I shouldn't say universities. It's not it's some of these collectives and third parties are not responding back. So, hey, we got your stuff. We're not okay with this NIL deal. It's not meeting our criteria. Maybe it can. Can you send us some more information to where you got that evaluation? Maybe we're just missing something. Nothing. Why wouldn't you respond? You're not responding because maybe you're putting yourself in trouble with any information that you have. It's like, well, actually, we already signed the deal. This is kind of a deal breaker.
Yeah.
The fact that, you didn't approve this, well, we already kind of got some paperwork here. That's how do we go through this? And then the other part is, like, if you're not responding, even if it's nothing nefarious, it just means you put in a lot of preparation for one player, maybe two players, maybe half your roster on these NIL deals, and they're not getting passed. So where does that leave you and your roster if you can't pay the guys the money that you said, yeah, we'll get you this much?
Yeah, and and especially because, like, college football, like, we're close. Like, college football starts in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that.
It's
like
under 50 or just at 50?
I think today or yesterday was 50 days until kickoff.
And we got this coming.
And and you can't tell me that with this new ruling, like, everything before, like doing this stuff before, it was shady, but it was okay. And, I'm just going to say it, when you're dealing with, 7-figure business deals, shady but okay is exactly kind of what you want.
It was shady but unchecked.
Yeah, that too. I mean,
it was never okay. It was just unchecked.
I think that's a better way to put it. But now, like, you're really putting these checks and balances in place, and now it's like, okay, so what are we gonna do now? And,
that's the question. What are we going to do now?
And that's where it's gonna get really, really interesting. Especially, I mean, obviously there was all the drama with Nico Iamaleava with Tennessee and UCLA, and I mean,
and his brother went there too,
and that's a whole.
Who
thing.
Also plays quarterback. 1 year apart, I think, as well.
I think one or two.
Yeah, I think it's only one class apart, which makes it even more interesting.
I think you may be right. Yeah.
If it's 2 classes apart, okay, I feel a little bit better about it. But
I mean, and then it's also like, is he even going to stay there? Like, because now, I mean, I can't think of a lot of big name players nowadays that are sticking with their programs, for their entire college career. Really, the only one or I don't want to say the only one, the big one that pops to mind, honestly, is Cade Klubnik. And then that's where you go to, you're talking about, if you're traditional, does it put you at a disadvantage? But you have traditional programs like Clemson that, really, really limits transfers. And I mean, they're dominating the ACC, not at the same caliber as they, were in the late 2010s.
But they're a pretty big favorite, I think, for the college football playoffs this year.
I mean, and that's the thing is, we talked about this the other day. It's like, even this year was a down year for them, and they still finished 10-4 with a college football playoff appearance and an ACC championship. It's their fault that Alabama didn't make it. So even in their slumps, they're still going to be solid. And then you look at, teams like Army, Navy, and Air Force, which, let's face it ain't get much more traditional than that.
Mm-hmm.
And like Army was a hop, skip, and a jump away from the playoffs this year.
Yeah, Navy was playing really good too.
Yeah, Navy was doing.
They had some tough losses, but they at one point in time, I think Army and Navy were both top 25.
Yeah, there was a point where it really looked like there was a chance.
I know Army for sure.
Yeah, because
they had to play Notre Dame.
Yeah,
that was one that took them out.
Because they got blasted by Notre Dame.
They got some help though, because it's like, well, Northern Illinois caught them, but Notre Dame was a much different team at that point in the season.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, like Notre Dame also, while they had that one obviously bad loss, they racked up some really good wins. Obviously, Army was a great win. Texas A&M ended up being a solid win. I think they beat Louisville as well, if I'm remembering right, which ended up, I mean, Louisville, blasted Clemson. So that ended up being a very good win. Like Notre Dame had some solid wins, and then ultimately, made their way to the playoffs and made all their way to the national championship. So they did really, really well.
Well, hopefully, if anything of what we're saying is indicative of success, that maybe continuity and keeping guys around, you feel better about Nebraska.
Yeah, 100%.
Feel better about Dylan Raiola. Yeah, definitely had opportunities to go elsewhere. He decided to stay. Emmett Johnson, I get it. You guys are giving money, but every school's going to give them money, and they still chose to stay. So you appreciate that factor. You got Matt Rule back. Dana Holgorsen, some continuity. And again, we talk about Army and Navy. I don't think it's, rocket science to figure out why are those teams successful. And I could be wrong. Maybe it was an anomaly last year. I think continuity is going to pay more dividends than ever. Yeah. And that's why I disagree with Deion Sanders, the way to build a team. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's trying to destroy college football.
No,
I'm just not optimistic on that working out for long term. I think you can have some flashes. You've had a Heisman winner. You had Shedeur Sanders. What's going to look like this year when you don't have those superstars and a lot of new faces trying to get that team chemistry together? And when you're, Clemson, who give credit to Sweeney, he's stiff-armed that whole era a lot.
Yeah.
I'm of the same mindset of him. So that's why I push for Clemson really hard, because I'm on the side of, it doesn't have to be all traditional, but there was some merit in doing things in the old school way. Doesn't mean you have to do everything the old school way, but it doesn't mean you have to just completely cut loose and go full pro either.
Yes, this is very true.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. That is the end. I'll go. We're probably just going to see some interesting stuff come out from these universities, maybe some players. This came out pretty recently. I believe it was today only few hours ago.
Yeah, I was sitting in there working on stuff when you showed it to me. So.
Yeah, it's going to be maybe shaky, which is unreal as we throw it a break here because you pointed out 50 or under 50 days till kickoff.
Getting close.
And we're, I say this all the time, and I wish I could say it more jokingly, but I never passed the bar exam. It feels like I have to. Like the amount of court cases and lawsuits and counter lawsuits and appeals in this era of college football. I thought I'd talk about Dylan Royale on the Huskers and Matt Rule, and it's like this summer has been just law talk. Like we're just talking about, is this legal? Can they really do this? Does the NCAA power have to do to enforce this? Does the College Sports Commission rules make sense? Is $600 and over really a fair value for them to look at every little detail? It's so much. And then it's not even mentioning, when they finally when they got the House versus NCAA settlement, like they immediately tried to appeal it because they said it violated Title IX.
Yeah.
And even if you agree or disagree, like there's parts of Title IX where it's kind of very gray in wording where it's like it's got to be a 50-50. Okay, if it's a 50-50, can you really make the argument that all these players, they made more money? Sure. So they deserve it. Yes. But it says 50-50. So how does that work out? So a lot of confusion this summer. I don't envy Troy Dannon. I don't envy who help me out here from Patriots. He's basically our GM now.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get it after.
Yeah,
the break. We'll give him his due credit. But not having a GM in place, which I'm sure a lot of universities are kicking themselves for not being in that place. Because again, with this NIL going and putting that memorandum, it sounds like it's not necessarily going great for a ton of universities.
No.
So if you had somebody in place who's keeping an eye on that much better situation. Go ahead. No, we'll throw it.
No, I was going to say, I mean, and last year I worked at a couple small town papers in Seward and Saline County. And I wrote a long story about Title IX stuff. And so I actually I sat down and I read the whole thing. And how do I word this? It's a very outdated document. I mean, it hasn't been updated since 1970.
Am I wrong to say it feels like there's a lot of gray within it?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Because, at that point, women's collegiate sports was nothing more than a theory, to be quite frank with you. And, now, again, you talk about the 50-50 thing and it gets complicated because, is it 50-50 in the way that you have to split it evenly amongst athletes, evenly amongst sports, evenly amongst revenue? Because, most universities have way more women's sports than they have men's sports just because football takes up so many scholarships.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, is splitting it evenly mean each sport gets the same amount or men's gets, 50, women's gets 50, or it's like a percentage based on how many each person gets? That's the thing is we can't even define what even is. And that's where it gets really, really dicey. So we're a little bit over. We'll throw it to break. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back, as well as Wimbledon, NBA covers. Got a lot more to talk about. You are listening to Ticket Weeknights on. I almost said KCOU.
It is on the wall over there.
It is on the wall. I almost threw out Missouri. I'm too used to that. On 93.7 The Ticket FM. Don't go anywhere, folks.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Hi, I'm Asher on summer break and about to start second grade. Thanks to awesome people like you who picked Aloe Fiber. They donated $193,000 to schools like mine. This summer, I'm using my fast internet to keep learning, and I can't wait to tell my teacher everything I discovered. So if you're a grown-up picking internet, choose Aloe, because Aloe chooses us, our schools, our town, and our future. Go to aloefiber.com to learn more.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Harrison Arens on the ones and twos. As always, you guys can always join in. 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. All great ways to put a face to the voice. We're going to wrap up. Well, I should say wrap up. We're going to start up with some Wimbledon here. We got plenty of time left on the airwaves. Jeffrey, you've been locked into it. I know we had some more chaos. Now the number one seed went down.
Yeah. I mean, if you've been tracking, the men's side has been pretty crazy, but I've been much more locked into the women's side of it because that has just been absolutely absurd. I mean, for those of you who didn't know, 4 top 5 seeds lost at the first 2 rounds. And Sabalenka, the number 1 overall seed, after all that happened, said, I just hope there's no more upsets, and made it pretty safely through most of the tournament. Today, she just had to win one game against the number 13 player in the country to make it to the championship game, and she dropped. Went down. It was a close matchup. Like, I will give her credit. She lost the first set 6-4, won the second set 6-4, and then lost the third set also 6-4. And so now Anna Smirnova of the United States has made it to the championship game. And then Swiatek out of Poland, the number 8 seed, took out the last unseeded team in pretty blowout fashion. Benchik from, I believe, Norway, 6-2 and then 6-0. So I mean, just absolute domination there. But yeah, I think
we got American in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is I think if someone had told you, yeah, there's going to be a United States player in the championship game, they would go, oh,
which one?
Coco Gauff. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Oh, yeah, duh. You would think Coco
you would have
Gauff.
been like, oh, yeah, Coco Gauff. Duh. She's the number 2 seed. Of course she's going to make it. No, she loses in the first round in blowout fashion. But yeah, I mean, this matchup is going to be July 12th at 10 a.m. Central Time.
Which one would you rather go to? Like a last day on Augustus or last day at Wimbledon?
Probably Wimbledon.
I actually think Wimbledon would be like fun. I listened to some people talk about, I would love to go for sure as an experience, but it's old school, so you don't get your phones with you. And it is a point where, you know, if you don't get good seats and you're just looking at the scorecard all day, I think I'd actually rather watch that on TV, because there's so many golfers you want to keep your eye on.
Yeah.
That if you're there and you don't have your phone, like I said, if someone offered to me, I'd say thank you 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
Go. But if it's between the two, I think Wimbledon is kind of where it's on that last day to be, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's up there in terms of listening to Peter Colbolt, the head coach for men's tennis here at Nebraska. You know, him describing it, and then even myself checking it out more. It is gorgeous. I would love to spend a day there.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is too, I guess, just for me, like, I've always liked faster paced sports. It's just my thing. So golf's just not, like, again, like, if I got the chance to go, like, that's still one of the coolest sporting events ever. I'd obviously go, but golf's just never been my thing. And tennis, honestly, isn't too much of my thing, but just seeing the chaos of it this year has got me a little more tapped in. And it's been fun. And I also think just, that environment would be really cool. There'd be a lot more, I think it'd just be more entertaining for me personally. So
It's so cool. And then you got like Wimbledon Village right there. And if anyone just wants to check out like what the town actually looks like and the village that they have there, it is incredible. Okay, now you got Tiger Woods is in his prime and he's golfing and he's wearing the red on Sunday in Augustus. Wimbledon or that?
See, that makes it tough, because
you gotta go see Tiger Woods.
I think you gotta. I mean, because it's one of those things. Like, I mean, there's just a few athletes. Like, if you get the chance to see in person, you have to see in person.
Yeah, who's all there left for the men that are kind of the last ones? Is it just?
I honestly
just
don't know.
Jokovic.
I think so.
Because I think everyone else is pretty much all the greats in his era growing up. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to watch. Maybe this year isn't so much as an anomaly, although I think it is. But I think on the men's side, it'll get a lot more interesting. And then clearly with the women's side this year, it's incredibly interesting already. And then the one thing about Wimbledon is if you make it and you're a tennis player, that is life-changing money.
Oh yeah.
Like it is. And again, I learned more of this stuff. It's fantastic when you have like the actual people that play it, coach it for a living, come into the studio and explain it. But you know, Peter Colbolt talking about, he was about 300, maybe just a little outside, top 300. And you know, he said it on air, so I don't feel like I'm spreading any bad news. And trust me, the guy's doing all right. But he was talking about once he was done, and again, he's a top 300 in the world player. You might top 300 not that great. Think about how many tennis players. You're top 300. If that's NBA, NFL, you're a pro.
Yeah,
and you're making big time money. He still, once he'd done and retired, he still had to go pay off a coach overseas. So he didn't make any money really from Wimbledon. I'm sure he had some stuff from the side, but you know, you still have to go pay the coaches. Talking about the amount of rackets, restringing them costs $25, and you're like restringing like 8 rackets for every match that you go to. That stuff adds up at an incredibly fast rate. So, you know, shout out to all the low seeds that made it, because their tennis careers just all of a sudden, hey, you make it to Wimbledon, you feel good about it. You make it far, that money piles up fast, and all of a sudden you can put yourself in a position to train like a pro tennis player at the same level as some of these other greats do. And sometimes that's, you know, the deciding factor. How good is your coach? How much training are you getting? And it makes a big deal in tennis. It really does.
Well, it's crazy. It's just crazy to think about, like, being top 300 and like still being in debt. Like, I mean, to put it in
and I shouldn't say debt, like debt in terms of his tennis coach,
right?
Like I'm sure his actual bank account was chilling,
That's
but like
fair.
he owed to the coach,
right. But it's thinking like, there's 32 52 man rosters in the NFL, so that's 1,664 players. I mean, your top 1,500, you're pretty safely in the NFL. Like, imagine, I'm trying to think of someone who would be around that 300 range. Like, thinking like, imagine like a Bobby Wagner or something, like being like in debt to someone. Like, that's just insane to even think about. So, yeah.
Or like having to pay his trainers. Like, he retired from the NFL and he's got to use his real life money to pay trainers.
Which would be nuts.
Well, and it's like, oh man, I thought that'd all just be kind of covered right there, but you're on your own. There is no team. You are your owner. So I mean, in a way, it makes sense. Like if you're going to play an individualized sport such as tennis, like you are the owner of your own franchise, and it's a steep bill until you make it to the best of the best.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to grind through that and make it to the best of the best, like then it starts to pay for itself. But yeah, it's been crazy for Wimbledon. We'll see what some of these new people that won, and if they could turn themselves into some more lucrative careers down the road and maybe show up and win more tournaments. But that being said, about 4 minutes left here. I talked about it with Tristan. I don't want to get too ranty. 2K cover. It's just interesting to me, and it's been a topic of discussion. NBA edition, the standard. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think it's the Legends edition.
I think so.
But the one they put out every year, the unique one where you spend an extra $30, and I'm not sure what they give you with it.
I don't know.
That one's got Carmelo Anthony, and then the WNBA edition has Angel Reese, and then the Leave No Doubt obviously has all of them in there. Your thoughts? We'll start with Shai Gilgeous.
So first of all, shameless plug. If you want to hear my full thoughts, Ellie and I had a very long rant specifically about the Angel Reese one on That's a W. We had to pre-record because I'm going out of town this weekend, but that'll be on Sunday if you want to hear like 30-minute segment on that. I SGA, like I like that one. I like that he's on there. I mean, it makes sense. Like, he was the MVP of the team that won the NBA finals. Like, it's the easy choice. And so I mean, I don't hate it. I talked about this with you a little bit yesterday. I feel like the 2K covers is more of a legacy thing. So I may have wanted to see a player with a little bit more legacy on that cover. But MVP, NBA champion, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And you take the layup, and then Angel Reese is just, again, I don't got any problem. I'm not going to like be mad. It's not going to stop me from buying the game. What's going to stop me from buying the game is I just think the product is worse. Like, it doesn't ever really feel that much better. I'll like wait every 3 years before I get a new one. It's just the fact that it's like, the marketing is always just feels a little bit off, where it's like, you guys have great players. I'm not even talking about Caitlin Clark. You have great players. Like, market them. When you put Angel Reese out there, like, and maybe it's good, but like, I could have told you the amount of backlash she was going to hate, and it's a lot. Like, if you just go look at her Twitter, it's a ton of backlash. And I'm not a believer of all media is good media.
No,
like, I don't want that type of negative spotlight. Congrats to her. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve, whatever. She got it. I have no problems with that. But if you're, WNBA, or if you're 2K, I shouldn't say WNBA, but I imagine they're in talks about it together. What are you doing here? You're putting, what's going to happen when you make that move.
And I guess my thing is, like, I also like, and I talked about this on That's a W. Like, if it was Caitlin Clark on the cover, I wouldn't be happy either, because they started putting WNBA players on the cover, starting with NBA 2K22, and the players that have made it on the cover are Candace Parker, Asia Wilson, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Sabrina Ionescu.
Goats.
Yeah, exactly. And like, the thing is, those 5 players, objectively, in my opinion, the worst player is Sabrina Ionescu. She's the only one that doesn't have an MVP. If you're in a discussion and the worst player in that discussion is Sabrina Ionescu, you got to be really, really good to put yourself in that conversation. And that's my thing, is like, I don't think it should be Angel Reese. I don't think it should be Caitlin Clark. I don't think it should be Paige Beckers, because they haven't cemented their legacy yet. That's not a bad thing. They just haven't been in the league that long. Now, if we're making an NCAA basketball game and there's going to be a women's basketball cover, Angel Reese absolutely should be a candidate for that. 100%. Caitlin Clark should be. Paige Beckers should be, because they have legacies there. And I sit here and I'm like, okay, Breanna Stewart, like, she's who I would put on. 2-time MVP, reigning WNBA champion, not on the cover. Like, what are we doing here? And I think that's just my thing. And, I feel a little bit of the same about Carmelo Anthony. I feel like he's got a little bit more legacy to him. But
yeah, I mean, then that's at least like the Legends edition, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever they call it. Superstar, I'm not sure. But it's just you have to go through so many. And Carmelo Anthony makes sense.
Yeah.
He's very meaningful to that New York's Knicks organization, even the Nuggets when he was there.
Yeah, and it's just Angel Reese. Like, we don't know how her career is going to turn out. She's been solid so far. But, you don't know if she's, you don't know if she's going to get a career-ending injury. You don't know if her, career is going to take a steep nosedive. You don't know. But
and this is going to sound mean. I don't mean it to, but it's like if 2K came out and they put Andre Drummond on the cover. You would just kind of look at it weird, like, all right, I'll buy it, but that's a curveball you threw at me. I was expecting like LeBron or maybe Luka or Giannis or really any of the super. But Andre Drummond, all right, we'll go with it. It's just like, to me, that's the confusion. It's like there's no like, oh, this makes me so upset. It's like it just. What are we doing here?
It's like,
you're missing the bar completely.
It's like I said yesterday, would you put Cooper Flag on the, the standard cover? Like, no. Like, and I have friends that have said Cooper Flag is the best NBA prospect we've seen in years, if not decades. And I don't necessarily disagree with him, but he's a rookie. He just got there. Like, no.
Well, it'd be like, or even putting Victor Wembanyama on it after his rookie year.
I think that's a way better comparison. He's already been in the league.
Yeah, and you could say Victor was more meaningful on that team. Now, if you want to talk about wins and losses, it's a whole nother segment. But yeah, it just kind of goes, it's my whole point is when it comes to marketing, you're in a unique space where you can finally feels like grow the WNBA and get some recognition. And it just, I'm rooting for it, but I get worried that they take too many wrong turns, and it's. Again, it's minor, but enough of the minor wrong turns turn into you're just completely in the wrong direction if you constantly miscalculate by 2 degrees. So with that being said, we are over the clock. We got to throw it to break here. Talked a lot. We talked to Gusto, Wimbledon, as well as some interesting stuff with the WNBA and their marketing decisions. But don't go anywhere. We'll talk NBA on the other side. So not going anywhere. Jeffrey Calhoun, Harrison Arens. Talk to you in a bit.
MHC isn't new, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered. Specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can also handle your commercial moves as well. There's never fees on trucks, stairs, elevators, long carry, and last-minute booking, and no trip or fuel charges. Also no upcharge on weekends, and they do offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2. Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Life changes, and sometimes that means changing where you call home. Whether you're downsizing, growing a family, relocating, or facing tough times, you shouldn't navigate it alone. I'm Laura Bonta-Bush with Woods Rose Realty, and I'm here to guide you with all your real estate needs. As wife of football coach Bill Bush, I understand the importance of teamwork and making sure you are supported every step of the way with honesty, integrity, and compassion. If you're looking for a game plan to buy or sell your home, text or call me at 402-525-0843. That's 402-525-0843.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard,
expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next opportunity? Nebco is hiring. They're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. They offer competitive wages, great benefits, service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Apply today at nebco.com. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for the Nebco shop. Learn more at nebco.com. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at nebco.com.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, Ticket Weeknights. Jeffrey Calhoun, Harrison Arens. Appreciate you guys joining in. 402-464-5685. Only a little bit of time here left. We do got Las Vegas Summer League coming up. It's not this Thursday, right? It's this upcoming Thursday for NBA Summer League. I'll let you double check that while I give the facts, because otherwise they're playing right now. But we don't have tickets to it anyways. Yeah, but the game we want to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers. You got Cooper Flag versus Bronny James. The big pull is Cooper Flag, but you can't deny Bronny James. That's going to be an opportunity for a lot of people that have faith in Bronny James to really show what he can do. I mean, Summer League's always a great time you're going to get your reps there.
So it is going on right now.
Okay.
It is active. It's in the second quarter, about 5 minutes in. Mavs up 33-28 over the Lakers.
Yeah, see if you can pull up the stats on that too. I'm curious to see how Cooper Flag's doing right now.
Cooper Flag currently 4 for 11 from the field, 0 for 3 from three-point land, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 8 total points. So
okay, he's got 8 points second quarter, 4 for 11. What about Bronny? Watch Bronny have like 25.
8 minutes, 2 for 3, 1 for 2 from 3, and 2 free throws. So
all right. I mean, that's good for him.
I mean, he's got 7 points. Like he's doing, and he's been on the field. Oh my gosh, he's been on the court 4 minutes less than Flag, and he has 1 less point. So I mean, he's not doing bad for himself.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing for him is can you find that 3-point shot?
Yeah, I mean he got one. So
for a game, I had a 3-point shot. Well, one game in high school, I shot I think 3 for 4. Well, no, my numbers didn't follow after that. That was an anomaly, and that might be with Bronny James. His biggest thing, and he definitely probably has worked on it. I'm not saying it's not improved, but if you're going to be Bronny James and make it in this league, and a lot of people love just slapping a 3-and-D guy on him, which I don't understand. Like defensively, he's not a real-time threat. He's just undersized. So sure, if he wants to put the energy there, I think he can be. But for him, if he really wants to stay on the court and be effective, he's got to get that 3-point shot more consistent. So that's a good sign if you're for him. And if it's Cooper Flag, I mean, you're just happy he's not 0 for 11. Like a game where he's not super efficient, getting his legs underneath him, playing with a bunch of new faces. I'm not overly worried about the Cooper Flag. I will say though, the reason why we want to bring this up These tickets were insanity. So yesterday, this was about 10 a.m. Courtside seats were running about $3,000.
Which is just, it's insane. I'm sorry. Like, and first of all, I pulled up the game on my computer just to see. Like, it's packed in there. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, it looks like a honest to God NBA game. But like, I don't know. This is like, I feel like this would be like, I feel like this would be like,
it's kind of close to when, remember the hype around Lonzo Ball in the summer league?
I don't know. But okay, I think I was trying to think of a good example. I feel like this would be like, a preseason game between the Titans and the Jaguars, and tickets are $200-$300 just to see Cam Ward and Travis Hunter. Like, if it's regular season, like, yeah, like I get it, but this game doesn't matter. Like, I mean, like, I don't mean to say like, but like this game, it's practice reps. Like, I don't understand why like get in price is $90. Like,
because the other people said, yeah, we'll pay 70. Well, if they'll pay 70, I'll pay 80. Well, if they play, I'll pay 90. And it just goes and goes and goes until you get people saying, I want to see Cooper Flag more than you do. I'm going to pay $3,000 for courtside, or I'm going to pay $90 for nosebleeds because I got to see this. It's what happens. You get a generational player. People get excited. I wonder what Zion, if he was close to it as well.
And I guess that's fair, but it's also like, there's going to be 82 games this season, and I'm sure that Cooper Flag's going to get playing time in at least some of them. And I don't think the get-in price for every single one of those games is going to be $90.
It's good for the NBA. I'll tell you that much.
Like,
NBA, you're loving it.
But it's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, I'm not going to pay $90. I'll wait till the Dallas Mavericks are, 12 and 32 or something.
I can kind of see. If I was a diehard Mavericks, I would. If $90 would be too much for me. But if I had like a ton of money to just throw around, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go. Like, I'm a Mavericks fan. I'd be a little bit conflicted because I'd still be bad about Nico Harrison and getting rid of Luka. But you would have an unreal level of excitement to go see Cooper Flag.
I guess that's fair.
So I might not go to the first one, wait a little bit for the tickets to drop, but I can understand why people were so eager. And first game, people want to see Cooper Flag, and you kind of figure they're going to tell Cooper Flag, like, yeah, go ahead and go prove yourself. He took 11 shots already in the second quarter.
Yeah.
He's Cooper Flag's the game.
Yeah. He is very much trying his absolute best to make himself a presence. I think he's had the most attempts of anybody on the court.
11 already in the second quarter is quite a few.
The next after him is, I just want to see. Yeah, Miles Kelly and Ryan Nembhard both have 7. And yeah, Flag has 11. So he's trying. Like, he is very much trying to set himself apart in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. Where are you at, real quick, before we get out of here? Cooper Flag. What was the last player to really have as much hype as him? And has there been one in your lifetime?
Honestly, Zion. Like, that's the last big one I can really think of. Like, granted, I'm not as tapped into the NBA as you, but I remember people freaking out about Zion going to the Pelicans.
Yeah, those high school tapes were unreal.
Yeah, so Zion's probably the last one I can think of. But I'm not sure if he holds a candle to what Cooper Flag's hype has been this year.
Yeah, no, and it's $3,000. It's hard to argue against.
Yeah,
it's like if you're selling courtside, for a summer league game, and it's cost $3,000. I know I'm saying, Bronny helps, but obviously a lot of it's Cooper Flag. People want to 100%. See Cooper Flag, and then, shout out to Bronny James, adds a little bit of extra layers to it. But that being said, we got to get out of here. Appreciate you guys listening. This has been Ticket Weeknights with Harrison Arens, Jeffrey Calhoun.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,